You see, in life we often seek companionship, validation, and approval from others before we dare to embark on something new. We are taught to believe that we need someone else's hand to hold or a voice of reassurance to guide us. But have you ever considered that the most profound journeys are often taken alone? That the moments of true self-realization, the moments where you awaken to your own power, occur in solitude. Aloneness is not loneliness. Loneliness is a kind of longing, a feeling of separation from the world, but aloneness is something entirely different. It is the recognition that you are whole, that you possess within you all that you need. To be alone, truly alone, is to stand in your own strength, unburdened by the expectations and judgments of others. The great sages, the explorers, the artists, they all had moments where they had to face the unknown without a companion, without a map. In these moments, they discovered something invaluable, that the real guide lies within. You see, when you rely on others, you outsource your power, you hand over the keys to your destiny. But when you do it alone, you are forced to confront yourself, your fears, your doubts, your limitations, and in doing so, you transcend them. Now, this doesn't mean rejecting community or love or connection, but it means understanding that no one can walk your path for you. No one else can unlock your potential, and that is the beauty of it. The more you walk alone, the more you realize that you are never truly alone. Life itself walks with you, guiding you through synchronicities, through the natural intelligence of the universe. There is no need to wait for permission. There is no need to wait for someone to tell you that you're ready. The very fact that you exist is the only validation you will ever need. You are here now, in this moment, with everything required to step forward, to create, to live your truth. But it's only when you do it alone that you realize this. So take that step. Walk the path. Not because it's easy or because others will cheer you on, but because there is something within you that is yearning to be expressed. And the only way to let it out is to move forward on your own into the unknown. And in that journey, you'll find that aloneness is the greatest companion you'll ever have. Aloneness is not loneliness. It's a distinction that many people fail to recognize, yet it is crucial to understand. Loneliness comes from a feeling of separation, a belief that you are cut off from others, from the world, from life itself. It's a kind of grasping, a longing to be connected, to be filled by something outside of yourself. But aloneness is a different experience altogether. Aloneness is the realization that you are not lacking anything. It is a profound recognition of your completeness, a state of being where you no longer seek external validation, because you know deep within that you are enough as you are. You see, we have been conditioned to fear being alone. From a young age, we are taught to surround ourselves with people, to seek companionship, to look outside of ourselves for meaning. But in doing so, we overlook the vastness of our own inner world. We distract ourselves from the depths of who we are. And it is only in aloneness, when all the distractions fall away, that we begin to truly see ourselves. To be alone is to step into that vast inner space and explore it fully. It is to listen to the silence within, to feel the pulse of life that moves through you, and to discover that this pulse, this energy, is the same energy that animates everything in existence. When you are alone, there is no one else to project your thoughts, fears, or desires onto. You are left with yourself, and in that space you begin to see clearly. You realize that the connection you've been seeking outwardly is already within you. The universe itself flows through you, and in that realization, aloneness transforms into a state of unity with all that is. It's a space where you no longer need others to validate your existence, because you feel the interconnectedness of life in your very being. This is the beauty of aloneness. It's not about isolating yourself from the world, but about coming to a place where you no longer feel dependent on it for your sense of self. It's about understanding that your value doesn't come from what others think of you, but from the simple fact that you are here, alive, breathing, and that is enough. In aloneness, you come to recognize the magnificence of your own presence. You see that you are not a fragment separated from the whole, but a vital part of the very fabric of existence itself. So do not fear being alone. Embrace it. Understand that it is in aloneness that you find your true strength, your true self. You discover that everything you have been seeking is already within you, waiting for you to turn inward and recognize it. Self-reliance reveals inner strength. There is something profoundly liberating about standing on your own, without the crutch of external support or approval. In a world where we are often encouraged to seek guidance from others, to follow the well-trodden path, we lose sight of the power that resides within us. It is only when we decide to venture forth alone, without waiting for someone to tell us we are ready, that we begin to uncover the depths of our own strength. When you rely on others, whether for reassurance or direction, you place your power in their hands. You give them authority over your choices, your confidence, even your sense of worth. But the moment you choose to walk alone, something shifts. You no longer look outside for answers. Instead, you begin to trust your own instincts, your own wisdom. And in doing so, you awaken to a strength that was always there, just waiting to be called upon. It's a paradox, really. The more we lean on others, the weaker we become. But the more we stand alone, the stronger we grow. Not because aloneness makes us tougher or harder, but because it allows us to tap into a source of power that is uniquely our own. It strips away the need for external validation, revealing a core of resilience that lies beneath all the noise and uncertainty. You see, we are far more capable than we allow ourselves to believe. But it is only in moments of solitude, when there is no one else to turn to, that we truly begin to realize this. When you do it alone, you are forced to rely on yourself in ways that may initially feel uncomfortable, even frightening. But it is precisely in that discomfort that your real strength emerges. The doubts and fears that once held you back begin to dissolve, replaced by a quiet confidence that comes from knowing you can face whatever life throws your way. Self-reliance doesn't mean you have all the answers. It simply means you trust yourself enough to find them, or to create them if they don't yet exist. It is about understanding that you have everything you need within you to navigate the challenges and uncertainties of life. And the more you practice this, the more you come to realize just how powerful you truly are. The strength that self-reliance reveals is not loud or boastful. It is a quiet, steady force that grows with each step you take alone. It's the kind of strength that doesn't need to prove itself because it knows its own worth. And once you tap into this inner reservoir of power, you begin to move through life with a newfound sense of clarity and purpose. You no longer wait for others to guide you or affirm your decisions. You trust yourself fully and completely, and in that trust you discover a strength that can carry you through any storm. True growth happens in solitude. There is a kind of silence that exists when we are alone, a silence that invites reflection, understanding, and transformation. It is in these quiet moments, away from the distractions and opinions of others, that we begin to truly see ourselves. We live in a world that often equates progress with constant action, with the noise of achievement and validation. But real growth, the kind that transforms us from within, often occurs in stillness, when we are left to our own thoughts, our own awareness. In solitude, we no longer have the external mirrors of other people reflecting back to us who we think we are. There is no one to praise or criticize, no one to project their ideas or expectations onto us. Instead, we are left with only ourselves, our raw, unfiltered self. And it is in this space that we begin to confront the parts of us we often avoid. Our fears, our doubts, our insecurities, these all rise to the surface. And yet it is precisely through facing these inner challenges, in the absence of distraction, that we grow. Growth in solitude is not forced. It's not about pushing yourself to become something or someone else. It is more like a gentle unfolding, a natural process of becoming. When you are alone, without the need to perform or impress, you can relax into who you truly are. And in that relaxation, something remarkable happens. You begin to evolve. It is as if all the layers you have built up the masks, the defenses start to fall away, revealing your true nature underneath. Solitude gives you the space to explore yourself in a way that is not possible in the company of others. You start to notice things about yourself that were previously hidden, perhaps because you were too busy trying to fit in or meet the expectations of those around you. Alone, you can observe your thoughts, your reactions, your desires without judgment, and in that observation you gain a deeper understanding of who you are and what you truly need. This is why true growth often feels like a solitary journey. It's not about isolating yourself from the world, but about creating the inner space needed to hear your own voice, to feel your own truth. In that solitude, you learn to trust yourself more, to rely on your own inner wisdom, rather than seeking answers outside of yourself. You realize that the most profound shifts happen not through external changes, but through internal realizations, and these realizations often arise when you are alone with yourself. Solitude also allows you to step back from the constant rush of life and reflect on where you've been, where you are, and where you are going. It gives you the time to integrate your experiences, to make sense of them in a way that leads to real growth. In the absence of outside influence, you can see more clearly what is truly important to you, what you need to let go of, and what you want to cultivate in your life. This clarity is the foundation of growth, and it is something that can only emerge when you give yourself the gift of solitude. There is a quiet wisdom in aloneness, a wisdom that speaks not in words, but in feelings, insights, and subtle shifts of awareness. It is a wisdom that guides you gently toward your own potential, your own unfolding. And it is only in solitude that you can truly hear it. Outsourcing your power weakens you. We live in a society that constantly encourages us to look outward for validation, guidance, and approval. We're conditioned to believe that others hold the key to our success, our happiness, our sense of purpose. But when you rely on someone else to define who you are, to tell you what you are capable of, you give away your power. You place your worth in the hands of others, and in doing so, you weaken your own sense of self. Think about how much of our lives are spent seeking approval from others. We look for confirmation in the eyes of those around us, waiting for someone to tell us we're on the right path, that we're good enough, smart enough, worthy enough. And yet, the more we depend on these external sources of validation, the more we distance ourselves from our own inner knowing. We start to lose touch with our instincts, with that quiet voice inside that has always known the way. It's as if we're handing over the reins of our life to someone else, hoping they'll guide us to where we need to be. But no one else can truly know your path. No one else can feel what you feel, see the world through your eyes, or understand the depths of your desires and dreams. When you outsource your power, you give up the very essence of what makes you unique. You reduce yourself to a reflection of someone else's expectations, losing the ability to trust your own wisdom. You see, there's a subtle but profound difference between seeking guidance and giving away your power. Guidance is valuable, yes, but only when it enhances your own sense of self, when it strengthens your connection to your inner compass. But the moment you begin to rely on someone else to tell you who you are or what you should do, you begin to lose yourself. Your decisions no longer come from a place of true authenticity, but are shaped by the desires, fears, and judgments of others. And here's the thing, relying on external validation is a fragile way to live. People's opinions change. Their approval can be fleeting, conditional, based on factors beyond your control. If your sense of worth is tied to someone else's view of you, you will always be at the mercy of their shifting perceptions. But when you reclaim your power, when you stop looking outside for validation, something shifts within you. You realize that the only approval you truly need is your own. It's a radical shift in perspective. Instead of seeking answers from others, you start to trust the wisdom that arises from within. You stop waiting for someone else to give you permission to live your truth. And in doing so, you strengthen your connection to your own source of power. It's a quiet power, a kind of inner certainty that doesn't rely on external praise or recognition. It's the knowing that no matter what others think, you are enough just as you are. This doesn't mean isolating yourself or rejecting the support of others. It simply means understanding that your power, your truth, is something only you can define. It is about recognizing that the more you lean on others for validation, the further you drift from your own center. And it is only when you return to yourself, when you trust your own intuition and follow your own path, that you truly reclaim your power. When you stop outsourcing your power, you realize just how strong you've always been. You see that the strength you were searching for in others has been within you all along. You no longer need to borrow confidence from someone else's approval because you have found it within yourself. And this is the essence of true power, the kind that cannot be taken away, the kind that grows stronger the more you trust it. Your path is uniquely yours. No one else can walk it for you. Life, in its intricate beauty, has carved out a journey for you that is unlike anyone else's. From the moment you were born, the world started to mold you in ways that only you can experience. Your thoughts, your dreams, your challenges, and your insights, they are all part of a path that only you can understand. And yet, how often do we look to others to tell us which way to go? How often do we compare our journey to someone else's, thinking that if we follow their steps, we will somehow find the same fulfillment or success. But life doesn't work that way. Your journey is not a map that someone else can hand you. It is something that unfolds as you walk it step by step. And the beauty of this journey is that it is deeply personal. It reflects who you are at the core, not who others think you should be. There is no universal blueprint for living. There is only your own unique path, shaped by your experiences, your insights, and the lessons you are here to learn. It can be tempting to try to follow someone else's path, to believe that if we just mimic their steps, we will find the same happiness or success that they have. But in doing so, we lose sight of our own way. We get caught up in someone else's story, forgetting that we are the authors of our own. The truth is, what works for one person may not work for you. Their path is shaped by their unique set of circumstances, their inner world, and their specific needs. And just as their journey is uniquely theirs, your journey is uniquely yours. The world is full of advice, full of people who will tell you how to live, what choices to make, what direction to take. But none of them can truly know the path that is meant for you. They are not walking in your shoes. They do not feel the pull of your heart, the quiet whispers of your intuition, the inner call that only you can hear. And so, to walk your path, you must learn to listen to yourself above all else. You must trust that you know the way, even when the path is unclear, even when others question your direction. There is a certain kind of courage that comes with walking alone, with trusting your own inner guide when there is no one else to follow. But this is the essence of a true journey. It is not about following in someone else's footsteps. It is about creating your own. It is about recognizing that your life is a reflection of your own choices, your own inner truths, and only you can make those choices. Only you can decide what direction to take, what risks to embrace, and what sacrifices to make. This doesn't mean that others can't support you or that their advice has no value. But their guidance is like a compass, not a map. It can point you in a general direction, but it cannot show you the precise way to go. That part is up to you. You must be willing to venture into the unknown, to trust that even when the path is difficult, it is your path, and it is leading you exactly where you need to be. The more you walk your own path, the more you begin to see that every step is a reflection of who you are. The challenges, the triumphs, the moments of doubt, they are all part of your unique story, a story that no one else can write for you. And in embracing this, in fully owning your journey, you come to realize the immense power and freedom that comes with it. You are not bound by the expectations of others or by the limitations that society places on you. You are free to walk your own way, to define your life on your own terms. In doing so, you will find a deeper sense of fulfillment than you ever could by following someone else's path. Because your journey is not about achieving some external goal or meeting someone else's standards. It is about becoming more fully yourself, about discovering the depths of who you are, and expressing that in every step you take. And only you can walk that journey because it was made for you, and you alone. Life supports the solitary journey in ways that are subtle yet profound. When you choose to walk your path alone, something remarkable happens. You begin to notice how life itself rises up to meet you, to guide you in ways you might not have expected. We are often taught to believe that we need constant companionship, that we need others to help us along the way. But when you step into solitude, you open yourself to the intelligence of the universe, the underlying currents that are always there, always guiding, if only you allow yourself to trust them. There is a rhythm to life, a flow that we sometimes miss when we are too caught up in the distractions of the world. When you walk alone, you attune yourself to that rhythm. You begin to notice the signs, the synchronicities, the subtle nudges that steer you in the right direction. These are not accidents or coincidences. They are life speaking to you, showing you that you are supported even when there is no one else around. It's as if the entire universe conspires to guide you, but only when you let go of the need to control or rely on others. Walking your path alone doesn't mean you're isolated. Quite the contrary, it means you are more connected to the flow of life itself. You begin to see that the answers you seek, the clarity you desire, are already within you. And life, in its infinite wisdom, reflects that back to you through experiences, encounters, and insights. But you can only perceive this guidance when you quiet the external noise and learn to trust the solitude. It's as though life has its own language, a silent communication that speaks to those who are willing to listen. When you walk alone, you become more receptive to this language. You start to notice patterns, events lining up in ways that feel almost magical. A chance meeting, a book that falls into your lap at just the right time, an opportunity that appears when you least expect it. These are all ways in which life supports you. But you must be attuned to these moments, and solitude sharpens that awareness. There is a natural intelligence in the universe, one that flows through every living thing, every situation, every moment. When you walk alone, you are not disconnected from this intelligence. In fact, you are more in tune with it. You begin to feel a deep sense of alignment with life, as if everything is unfolding exactly as it should, even if you cannot see the whole picture. This is the beauty of trusting the solitary journey. You no longer need to rely on external structures or people to tell you where to go or what to do. Life itself becomes your guide, whispering to you through the fabric of everyday experience. And the more you trust this process, the more life reveals its wisdom to you. You start to see how everything is interconnected, how the decisions you make, the thoughts you hold, and the actions you take are all part of a larger tapestry that is constantly being woven. Life doesn't need you to control it or force it into a particular shape. It simply needs you to show up, to be present, to walk your path with an open heart and mind. And when you do, it responds in kind, offering you exactly what you need in each moment. This is the quiet assurance that comes with doing it alone. You realize that you are never truly alone, because life itself is always with you, guiding you, supporting you, even when there are no other people around. It is not about isolation, but about connection to something greater than yourself, something that cannot be seen but can always be felt. And this connection is most easily accessed when you are willing to step into the unknown, to walk the path that only you can walk. Life's intelligence is always at play, whether we are aware of it or not. But in solitude, we become more aware, more attuned to its presence. We start to understand that the universe is not indifferent to us. It is always in dialogue with us, always responding to our inner states, always shaping itself around our choices. And when we embrace this truth, we find that the solitary journey is not one of struggle or hardship, but one of deep connection and profound trust in the unfolding of life. Independence leads to authenticity. When you walk alone, free from the expectations and judgments of others, you begin to strip away the layers of pretense that society, culture, and even your relationships may have placed upon you. There is a profound freedom in no longer needing to fit into someone else's idea of who you should be. Instead, you can finally turn inward and discover the truth of who you are. And it is in this solitude, this independence, that your true self emerges, an authentic self that is not shaped by external forces, but by your own inner knowing. The world is full of noise, full of opinions about what success looks like, what happiness should be, what it means to live a good life. We absorb these ideas from an early age, and slowly they begin to shape our identity. We become performers in a play that is not our own, acting out roles we were never meant to play. But when you choose to walk alone, you begin to shed these roles. You stop trying to meet the expectations of others, because there is no one left to impress. You are free to simply be yourself. This kind of independence requires courage. It is not easy to stand apart from the crowd, to choose your own way when everyone else is walking a different path. But it is in this act of stepping away from the collective, from the need to belong, that you find your true belonging within yourself. You no longer need the validation of others to feel whole, because you have found a deeper sense of completeness in your own authenticity. Authenticity is not something that can be taught or imposed. It is something that is uncovered, revealed through the process of self-exploration and self-acceptance. And this process often happens in solitude, when you are no longer surrounded by the voices of others telling you who to be. In this quiet space, you begin to listen to your own voice, to the truth that has been within you all along. And as you listen, you start to see the parts of yourself that you have hidden away, the parts that didn't fit into the mold society offered you. You reclaim these parts, and in doing so, you become more whole, more real. There is a raw beauty in authenticity. It is not about perfection or meeting some external standard. It is about being real, being true to yourself, no matter what that looks like. When you are authentic, you no longer feel the need to wear a mask or pretend to be something you're not. You are free to express yourself fully without fear of judgment or rejection, because you are no longer seeking approval from outside of yourself. You have found approval within. Independence also allows you to follow your own inner compass, to make choices that are aligned with your values, your desires, and your truth. You are no longer swayed by the opinions of others, no longer trying to conform to what society expects of you. This kind of freedom leads to a life that feels more meaningful, more purposeful, because it is a life that is truly your own. It is not a life borrowed from someone else's dream or shaped by someone else's standards. It is a life that is born from your own authenticity. The journey toward authenticity can be uncomfortable at times. It requires you to face the parts of yourself that you may have been avoiding, the parts that don't fit neatly into the roles you have been playing. But it is in this discomfort that true growth happens. You begin to see that the version of yourself you have been presenting to the world is not the whole story. There is more to you than meets the eye depths of feeling, creativity, and wisdom that have been waiting to be expressed. And when you walk alone, free from external influence, you give yourself permission to explore these depths. In this exploration, you discover that authenticity is not something you have to strive for. It is not a goal to be achieved, but a state of being that naturally arises when you let go of the need to be anything other than yourself. It is the most natural expression of who you are, unfiltered and unedited. And it is only in independence, in walking your own path, that you can fully embrace this truth. When you choose to do it alone, you are choosing to honor your own authenticity. You are choosing to live a life that is true to you, even if it doesn't fit the mold that others have created for you. And in doing so, you find a sense of peace and fulfillment that cannot be found through conformity or external validation. Because the deepest joy in life comes from being who you truly are, and that can only happen when you have the courage to walk your own way. Walking alone reveals your inner strength. There is a profound realization that emerges when you no longer have the safety net of others to lean on, when you no longer depend on external sources for support or validation. You begin to discover the quiet power that resides within you, a strength that has always been there but often goes unnoticed in the presence of constant companionship. It is in the moments of solitude, when you are left with only yourself, that this inner strength begins to rise to the surface. Most of us spend our lives unaware of just how strong we truly are. We are conditioned to believe that we need others to help us through challenges, that we are not enough on our own. But when you walk alone, you are forced to confront the reality of your own resilience. There is no one else to pick you up when you fall, no one to offer comfort when things get tough. And in that stark aloneness, you begin to realize that you are capable of much more than you ever imagined. This is not a harsh or isolating truth, but rather a liberating one. You see, strength is not something that comes from outside of you. It is not something that is granted by others or dependent on external circumstances. It is something that resides deep within your being, waiting for the right moment to be called forth. And solitude, with all its challenges, is the crucible in which this strength is forged. When you are alone, you are confronted with yourself, your fears, your doubts, your insecurities. These are the very things that often keep us from seeing our true power. But in the absence of distraction, you have no choice but to face them head-on. And it is through this confrontation that you begin to uncover your inner strength. You realize that the fears and doubts were never as powerful as you thought. They were simply illusions, veils that covered the truth of your own capability. As you continue on your solitary path, this strength becomes more and more apparent. You start to see how much you can endure, how much you can overcome. The challenges that once seemed insurmountable no longer hold the same weight, because you have discovered something greater within yourself, a source of strength that is unshakable, unyielding. It is not the kind of strength that requires force or aggression. It is a quiet, steady power that comes from knowing who you are and trusting in your own ability to navigate life's challenges. There is a certain kind of beauty in realizing that you do not need to rely on anyone else for your sense of strength or stability. It doesn't mean you reject help or companionship, but it means you no longer depend on them to feel secure. You are rooted in your own being, confident in your own ability to stand tall, no matter what life throws your way. And this is the gift of walking alone. It shows you that everything you need has always been within you, waiting to be realized. Walking alone also teaches you to trust yourself. When there is no one else around to offer advice or guidance, you learn to rely on your own intuition. You begin to trust that you have the wisdom to make the right decisions, that you are capable of navigating the complexities of life without needing constant reassurance from others. And as you build this trust in yourself, your inner strength grows even stronger. You become more self-reliant, more resilient, and more capable of facing whatever comes your way. This inner strength is not something that can be given to you by others, nor can it be taken away. It is yours and yours alone. It grows with every challenge you face, every obstacle you overcome, and every moment of solitude you embrace. And the more you tap into this strength, the more you realize that you are not as fragile as you once thought. You are far more powerful than you have been led to believe, and this power comes not from external sources, but from within. In solitude, you come to understand that true strength is not about being invulnerable or never needing help. It is about knowing that, even when you are alone, you have everything you need within you to thrive. You are capable of weathering the storms of life, not because others hold you up, but because you have found your own unshakable foundation. And it is this inner strength that allows you to walk through life with a sense of quiet confidence, knowing that no matter what happens, you are enough. In solitude, you begin to understand the importance of self-reliance, not just in practical terms, but on a deeper, more existential level. Self-reliance isn't about shutting others out or rejecting help. It is about the realization that at the core of your being, you are the one who shapes your reality. You are the architect of your own experience. Life doesn't hand you the answers, it gives you the raw materials, and it is up to you to construct meaning, purpose, and direction from them. And when you do it alone, you are free to design your life according to your deepest truth, not according to the expectations or blueprints of others. This freedom, however, requires you to trust yourself completely. When you walk alone, you no longer have the luxury of leaning on someone else for guidance. You must cultivate an inner sense of direction, an ability to navigate life's unpredictable currents by your own internal compass. And this internal compass is not something that is immediately obvious. It is not an external instruction manual. It is born from your experiences, your reflections, and the ongoing conversation you have with yourself and the world around you. At first, self-reliance can feel daunting. You may doubt your ability to handle the challenges that arise when no one else is there to catch you when you fall. But the more you practice self-reliance, the more you realize that it is not about always knowing the right answer or having everything under control. It is about understanding that you are capable of finding your way, even when you don't have all the pieces of the puzzle. It is about trusting that you have the strength, the creativity, and the resilience to adapt, to learn, and to grow as you go along. You begin to see that self-reliance is not about rigid control or perfectionism. It is about embracing uncertainty and trusting that, even in moments of confusion or doubt, you have the resources within you to make the next step. In doing this, you free yourself from the need for constant external validation, because you no longer need someone else's approval or affirmation to know that you are on the right path. You start to realize that the path itself is yours to create, and that you are the only one who can truly know what is best for you. The beauty of this self-reliance is that it empowers you to become more attuned to the world around you. When you no longer feel dependent on others to direct your life, you open yourself to a deeper connection with everything. You begin to see that the universe itself is in constant flow, and when you trust your own inner wisdom, you naturally begin to align with that flow. The challenges you face become less about obstacles to overcome and more about opportunities for growth, opportunities for you to explore your own potential. And as you cultivate this self-reliance, you start to understand that the power to shape your life is always in your hands. It is never outside of you, never dependent on the approval of others or the circumstances of your environment. It is within you waiting to be tapped into. And when you realize this, you stop looking for permission, you stop asking for others to approve your path. Instead, you step into the full responsibility of your own life. You take ownership of your choices, your actions, and your dreams. This is the ultimate liberation that comes from walking alone, knowing that you are the one who has the power to create your reality. You are no longer a passive participant in life, waiting for others to tell you what to do or how to live. You are the active creator, the one who determines the shape and direction of your journey. And in that freedom, in that self-reliance, you discover a deep sense of peace and confidence that is unshakable, because you realize that no matter what comes, you are equipped to face it, to navigate it, and to move forward. In learning to rely on yourself, you stop seeking outside validation and approval. You no longer need others to tell you that your choices are right or that your path is the correct one. You recognize that the only person who truly knows what is best for you is you. And this understanding allows you to move through life with a quiet, powerful confidence, knowing that your journey is yours alone, and you are more than capable of walking it, every step of the way. When you choose to walk alone, you unlock a deeper connection to life itself. There is a profound beauty in solitude that often goes unnoticed because we are conditioned to seek constant external engagement. Yet when you are alone, you open yourself up to a different kind of relationship, one with the world, the universe, and with your own being. It is in these moments of aloneness that you truly begin to experience life in its most pure, unfiltered form. You are no longer distracted by the noise of others, the opinions that fill your mind, or the expectations of the world around you. You are simply present with life, in its raw and unadulterated essence. This connection to life is not something that happens through force or effort. It is something that emerges naturally when you embrace solitude. Without the constant presence of others, you start to become attuned to the subtle rhythms of existence. You begin to notice the beauty in the smallest details, the way light dances on the water, the sound of the wind rustling through the trees, the quiet hum of the universe that is always present, but often drowned out by the busyness of the world. In these moments of solitude, you see that life is not something separate from you. It is not something you need to chase or strive for. It is something that you are deeply intertwined with. Walking alone invites you into a state of awareness that is unlike any other. It is in this awareness that you start to see the interconnectedness of everything. When you are alone, free from the influence of others, you begin to realize that you are not an isolated being. You are part of a vast, interconnected whole. You are the universe experiencing itself through the lens of your own consciousness. And when you recognize this, a deep sense of unity and harmony arises. The distinction between yourself and the world begins to dissolve. You are not separate from the world, you are the world, and the world is you. This connection to life, to the universe, becomes more tangible when you are willing to walk alone. In solitude, you stop looking for external validation or approval, and instead you start to tune into the deeper currents of existence. You start to listen to the whispers of your own soul, to the quiet guidance that life offers you in every moment. You realize that you are not alone in the way that you once thought. Life itself is always with you, supporting you, guiding you, even when it feels like there is no one else around. There is a profound intimacy in this relationship with life. When you are alone, you become more receptive to the mysteries that life holds. You stop seeking answers outside of yourself and begin to discover that the answers you have been searching for are already within you. Life does not present itself to you in loud, dramatic gestures. It presents itself in whispers in the quiet moments of reflection and stillness. And it is in these moments when you are alone that you are able to hear those whispers, to feel that deep connection to something greater. In solitude, you are also free to explore your own creativity, your own imagination. Without the distractions and judgments of others, you have the space to explore your own inner world and express yourself in ways that are uniquely yours. There is no need for validation or approval, because the act of creation becomes an expression of your own being, an exploration of the infinite possibilities that exist within you. When you do it alone, you allow your creativity to flow freely, unbound by the expectations of others or the constraints of societal norms. And so in walking alone, you discover a deeper relationship with life, one that is not based on external validation or the presence of others, but on an intimate personal connection to the world and to yourself. You realize that you are not a solitary being cut off from the universe, but a part of an endless, interconnected whole. And it is in this realization that you find peace, understanding, and a sense of profound belonging. You are exactly where you are meant to be, and you are not alone in your journey. Life is with you, and you are life itself. So when you choose to walk alone, you are not abandoning the world, you are rediscovering it in a deeper, more intimate way. You are not rejecting connection or relationships, but rather you are learning to connect with yourself in the most profound manner. In doing so, you uncover the endless well of strength, creativity, and wisdom that lies within you. And in this aloneness, you come to understand that it is not isolation you seek, but freedom, the freedom to be, to grow, and to live as the fullest expression of yourself. The truth is, the universe is already within you. And when you embrace the journey alone, you become not just an observer of life, but an active participant in its unfolding. You are the artist, the creator, the dreamer, the doer. And in this solitude, you find that the path forward is not one that is dictated by others, but one that is carved out by your own hand. You are never truly alone, for in your aloneness, you are united with everything. And in that unity, you will find the strength, the wisdom, and the love that you seek.